Hamilton is undergoing a major 10-year revitalization strategy in 2026 aimed at, of course, enhancing safety and cleanliness within public spaces. Added to that, the growing social challenges, perceptions of neglect. Joining me now in studio to talk about these things and many others, Hamilton Ward 4 Councillor, Hamilton's cheerleader, I should also say, Tammy Hwang, to talk about a few of these things, including housing and air pollution. Tammy, nice to see you today.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Mike.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. You're coming up to ending your first 4 years on council.
Yes.
You're going into a re-election year.
Yes.
Exciting times, yet also a little nerve-wracking, I can imagine, for some of the newer councillors. You look back on your 4 years to this point. What are you most proud of?
I think that we've pushed some significant advances. So even though we have big challenges when it comes to housing, when it comes to the social prosperity, when we're talking about affordability, there's a lot of big challenges. But I think that where we've really succeeded is trying to at least move the needle when it comes to helping out with affordable housing, ensuring that we're building and developing good policies. I think that this work is still ongoing and there's still a lot more road ahead, but that's where I get excited about what's coming up.
Do you feel that within your ward and this council has done enough over the last 4 years to move that benchmark?
Loaded question, Mike, thanks.
That's what I'm here for. That's why I get paid the big bucks.
I think we have moved the benchmark, definitely.
Okay.
I think there's a lot more work we can do and we ought to do. I think that the actual environment in terms of political climate, in terms of other orders of government, it's challenging because they're also moving the benchmark.
Yes.
So what ends up happening is as much as you feel like you're making some sort of progress, if the goal lines are changing, then it's really hard for us to get that base in order for us to gauge exactly how far we've come. There are good things, but then there are visible challenges when we see what's happening on the streets today.
Yep.
And it just feels like we're chasing an ever-moving goalpost.
And it doesn't help when federally and provincially so much is also being downloaded on municipalities.
Yes.
That's a real moving target for all of you that you just can't pin down. Let's talk about Ward 4 and the successes there. You mentioned homelessness and housing. You must see a lot of that in your area. Talk to us about how you are moving that needle forward and what you're doing for some community outreach.
So as you know, Ward 4 is bounded by Ottawa Street, DeFasco, Red Hill Valley, and the base of the escarpment. So Ward 4 is part of the old part of Hamilton. There's not a ton of green space. There's not a ton of expansion space. But what we've seen significantly is investments in our neighborhoods because we have private sector, nonprofit sector that are investing, buying up different vacant lands or underused parcels in order for them to really advance housing. And then in 2025, we've actually seen 82 units. Literally, I got a chance to cut the ribbon at the Queenston Traffic Circle for 82 units at 55 Queenston and 1360, nope, not that one. 1620 Main Street. Sorry, these are
Hey, you got
address
a lot of
numbers that
numbers and addresses, budget numbers. I get it. Things are happening. One thing in regards to developers where you are, what is going to continue to happen to hopefully get them to get shovels in the ground a lot quicker?
I think that we've done a lot in terms of cutting back development charges. We've given a 20% sort of, I don't want to call it moratorium, but a bit of a exemption or exception, 20% exception to development charges. We've cut the community benefit charges. We have now significantly reduced the red tape that comes with those developments. So I think that those are some of the different ways we are trying to help private sector developers at least put shovels in the ground. When it comes to nonprofits, we've also instituted a new housing secretariat. That housing secretariat is there to help streamline and help nonprofit developers build more affordable housing faster. But on top of that, we're putting our money where our mouth is, because in terms of matching different funds, so then that way those nonprofit developers can actually access different orders of government, their funding mechanisms. Like we're talking about how the province of Ontario wants to build 1.5 million homes. Build Canada is the big Mark Carney announcement, where that's also with the Housing Accelerator Fund. So this, again, is when this city of Hamilton and this council is talking about building housing to help solve some of the affordability challenges. Again, we're putting our money where our mouth is. We're not sitting back on this. We're actively trying to streamline processes and ensure that we're putting matching funds in.
Yeah, no, and it's important that everyone is talking off the same page. In your area, you work with your local BIA, lots of businesses, as you alluded to. However, there's also the issue of pollution that I mentioned just off the top before I introduced you here. Talk to us about what you, Councillor, are trying to do to remedy those issues down in that neighborhood.
So as you know, we have Dofasco as one of our biggest neighbors. They are also one of the top 10 employers of the city of Hamilton. Also, Dofasco is going through a significant amount of tariff challenges.
Yes.
The economic climate right now is terrible for steel producers. And so being the Ward 4 councillor, where I am home to Dofasco, there is a bit of a double-edged sword here. As much as we want to support Dofasco and all of their economic challenges today, there is also, hey, can you be a better neighbor? What are some of the different ways that you might be able to reduce the amount of air pollution in your manufacture of those goods that you need, but also be that environmentally conscious, good employer to the residents of Ward 4. Some of the big challenges is that we're trying to work very closely with the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks to try and keep those those producers and those manufacturers to task when it comes to ensuring that we're building healthy and safe communities in Hamilton.
And I guess for that to really help, it's not just one employer that has to buy in.
Yeah.
They all have to buy in because we're all
Exactly.
breathing the same air and they're pushing their stuff out into the same air. So they all got to get along on the same page. I want to keep moving along here regarding safety in your ward. Smash and grabs are at an all-time high. Distraction thefts are there. Businesses must be a little worried sometimes opening their door, or what happens when they lock it at night and the glass is broken? What are some things Ward 4 is looking at to help with that?
So one of the good things is that Ward 4 is part of Division 2 in the Hamilton Police Service. Division 2 has some amazing crime managers, so those are the liaison police officers that we connect with, because otherwise it's really hard for us to keep continuous tabs on all of the different moving pieces on these investigations. So the crime managers have been really, really responsive to us, including answering any of our questions and concerns. But also the superintendent there, Superintendent Mark Stiller, has actually instituted a liaison committee, and that is made up of different ward councillor representatives in order to share directly their concerns that we're hearing directly from residents, from businesses, in order to see that. But we're also cognizant that we can be a part of the solution as well, which is looking at when the chief tells us that youth crime is on the rise. And that's kind of indicative of some of these news articles, right? We're hearing that these smash and grabs are kids that come from all over and they get a text message and they just show up and they do the crime and they're gone. But this is where we're making investments in the community. In Ward 4, for example, we've invested in Liberty for Youth, which has been a long-standing charity organization.
Frederick Dryden does some good work down
Exactly.
there.
So we've invested in Liberty for Youth. We have also invested in an after-school program at Sir Winston Churchill in order to help at-risk, marginalized youth at my one and only high school, ensure that they're getting the right mentorship and after-school opportunities. We connect with the Boys and Girls Club of Kiwanis very closely. So we're doing our part in order to ensure that the next generation is also being taken care of.
I got 30 seconds left. It's kind of a high-end question, but just your overall thoughts on the City of Hamilton and the proposed budget.
It is a work in progress. This Friday we have another budget meeting. It is something where we have to balance affordability, but also investment, because I don't know if you've noticed, there are water main breaks all over the place. And so I think that the city has old and aging infrastructure, and we have to do our part to also ensure that the next generation doesn't inherit all of the challenges that we have today.
Tammy Hwang, Ward 4 Councillor, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciated having you in and hearing what you guys are up to.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, always a pleasure.